The UK has its third Prime Minister in 7 weeks. This is News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Sian.
And I'm Beth. Make sure you watch to the end to learn vocabulary to talk about this story.
And remember, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and try the quiz on our website. Now, today's story.
Rishi Sunak has taken over from Liz Truss after she spent just 45 days in office. Truss resigned after being heavily criticised for her economic plan, which saw the value of the pound drop significantly. Rishi Sunak, the UK's first British Asian Prime Minister, will have urgent issues to deal with, including the ongoing cost of living crisis. Opposition parties are calling for a general election.
Okay, so Beth, you've been looking at the headlines. What's the vocabulary?
We have bruising, Rishi-nomics, and steep learning curve.
This is News Review from BBC Learning English. Okay, let's have a look at our first headline.
This one is from The Times. How Rishi Sunak bounced back from summer's bruising defeat.
Okay, so a bit of context. Liz Truss beat Rishi Sunak earlier in a leadership contest this summer. Now, the headline says he's bounced back, so he's returned quickly. He's now Prime Minister. But The Times described that defeat as bruising. Okay, so a bruise is something you get when you hurt yourself, right?
Exactly, yeah. So a bruise as a noun is that kind of dark area of skin when you walk into a table or something like that. And if you touch it, it's quite painful. So the headline is saying that this was a bruising, meaning a painful defeat for Rishi Sunak.
Yes, and here it also means that it damages his reputation, or it damaged his reputation or confidence. So the loss damaged his reputation. So like a bruise damages your skin.
That's right, yeah. And we can hear this adjective bruising in other news headlines, particularly when it comes to sports. Now, Sian, yesterday, my football team lost 5-0.
That's a bruising loss.
I know.
But are there any other words we could use instead of bruising?
Well, bruising isn't that common. It's not really heard in everyday conversation. So you might describe a defeat or a loss as painful, bitter, or sometimes sore as well.
Okay, let's have a look at that again. Okay, let's have our next headline.
This one is from The Telegraph. Why return of Rishi-nomics means more pain for Britain.
Okay, so the headline writer thinks that more pain is coming, and specifically that Rishi-nomics will cause this pain. But Rishi-nomics, what is that? It doesn't even sound like a word.
Well, Rishi-nomics is a playful way of combining his name, Rishi, with the suffix nomics that comes from economics. So literally, Rishi-nomics means the economics of Rishi.
Okay, so is it normal to combine a name with this suffix nomics?
Well, it is if you're talking about a politician and their economic policies. Now, recently, a lot of people have been criticising Trussonomics. That's the economic policies of Liz Truss. And you also might have heard of Reaganomics from the 80s in the USA.
Okay, so can I start talking about Shananomics?
Not really, no. I mean, if you get into government and you become in charge of all of finance, then yes.
Let's hope that never happens. Let's look at all of that again. Okay, next headline, please, Beth.
This one is from the Financial Times. Sunak faces steep learning curve on world stage.
Okay, so the headline says that the new Prime Minister will need to face issues on a world stage. So that means the whole world will be watching how he does his job. Now, I know what a curve is. This is a curve. But what is a steep learning curve?
Well, if you picture a graph like this, when he starts his job, he doesn't have a lot of experience being a Prime Minister, but he has to learn a lot right at the beginning.
Okay, so the headline says or means that at the start of the job, he will learn a lot.
Yes, definitely. He'll learn a lot quickly. And this learning curve is described as steep. Now, if you think about a steep hill, it means it's really difficult to climb it. It's not like this, easy, it's steep. So it's also a difficult job.
Yeah, so steep really emphasises how quickly he will need to learn. And can we use this in other situations?
Yes, we can. So when you start a new job, then definitely it can be a steep learning curve. Also, when you leave home for the first time, there's a lot to learn very quickly. How do you cook for yourself, do the laundry, all this stuff?
Yeah, or if you move to a new country and also have to learn a new language, that can be a very steep learning curve.
Definitely.
But if you're in that situation, don't worry, we're here to help. So let's look at that again. Okay, so we've had bruising, it's painful.
Rishinomics, the economics of Rishi Sunak.
And steep learning curve, learning a lot very quickly.
Don't forget, there is a quiz on our website, bbclearningenglish.com.
Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.